Like the title, "Digging for Fire," is you, Joe, a big like Pixie fan, or what the hell?
I think Joe is, yeah. He came up with the title, pitched it, and we both really liked it.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Great song.
Yeah, it kind of fits. I mean, it's not story-wise, but the mood of it at least. I gotta ask, since you guys were like the party scene,
Yeah.
having Sam come in like that, like how fun was that whole sequence? That must have been wild. Just it looked like it was crazy, and knowing the improv style that's Joe's.
I mean, it was first and foremost incredibly fun, but it wasn't like a crazy party vibe. It was just like, when you said action, the party kind of snapped into. But like, other than that, it was just like guys just kind of like getting to know each other because we hadn't really met.
That's right. The funny thing about the party scene in this is, and Steve's right, they would call action, people are blowing coke and dancing, and then they would be cut, and everyone would be like, "So where are you from originally?"
Yeah.
They'd be like really small time being everyone, because we had
We're talking
that.
about like transcendental meditation.
That's
and,
right.
like, things that are just
And then they go action, everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, man!" So the party is not how it actually felt. But we all knew that's what needed to happen for the movie.
Wow, it doesn't. I mean, it feels like it was a party atmosphere.
That's awesome.
I'm curious, having like Mike also, Birbiglia, I can't say his last
Birbiglia?
name. Yeah. Having all those comedians as part of it too, and the funny side of it. Did y'all have those moments when you said cut, or it was just like hilarity, or did they come into it serious? I mean, Mike's character's
always funny.
pretty serious. Yeah.
Steve's always funny.
There's bits. I mean, like, Jake and I are really old friends, so our dynamic is really busting balls.
Yeah.
That's like how we spend time together, just, busting each other up. So, yeah, everyone was like pretty funny and lighthearted and like ready to jump on any kind of bit that someone started. So, yeah, it was a funnier, there's a lot of funny people in there, so.
The in-between action and cut, Joe as a director doesn't try to control that, so he doesn't care. So if we're all being really silly and joking, he does too. But he knows the tone of this movie, so he would say, like, I need this really up, or I need this really, very real. He would always say to Steve, that you have no line in here that you have to say, just don't try to be funny. If something comes up and it's naturally funny, great, but I don't want jokes, and I don't want somebody looking for a laugh. He's like, that's not the tone of this. I want this to feel very naturalistic.
Looking at Ben, the cinematographer,
Ben Richardson,
he's kind of
genius.
blown up because of
Beast
Oscars.
of the Southern Wild.
Incredible. But knowing that he's also part of the family, and how does he work off of the improv and what you guys are all doing?
Well, it's really interesting because when we did Drinking Buddies together, it was more handheld, and so he would almost be the third character, and it would be that camera because he would just find you. And this was more, it was locked off and more dolly shots, so the camera was always moving, and so as you were acting, you would see the camera moving and when it would stop, and so you would start, then it would start going back like this, so you would naturally know if ours can end when the camera ends. They have a great editing point. But if it doesn't naturally happen, then the camera's going to move again. And so it was an organic way to all of us be aware and be part of the same process.
That's really cool.
It's really fun to do. It's not the kind of movie that there are a lot of actors who like to go like super deep in their character and method and don't even want to think that a crew exists, and they want to be called their character's name by the crew so they can't go out. And I'm not teasing it because I genuinely respect a lot of the work that they do. That's just not the kick I'm on right now. The kick I'm on right now is I like thinking about the camera, and I like thinking about the crew. And so if I'm allowed to creatively be part of it, and that's part of the fun in the scene, is be watching that camera and know it's going to end at a certain point with a great over. And if we can wrap up what we're saying, and once it goes and you hit that moment and Swanberg goes, woo! Let's allow ourselves to be happy. Moving on. You just go like, got it.
Wow. How'd y'all find that house? Like, whose house
That's
is that?
a nightmare happening in here.
Whoa, ghost.
That is a screenwriter who knows Swanberg and who had wanted their house in a Swanberg movie at some point.
Wow. It really fit. It's kind of crazy.
Gorgeous.
So,
We should start saying it's my place.
Yeah, perfect. So that's Steve
I had a
Berg's
very
house.
good year last year, yes.
bigger house?
Old
man.
money I'm from.
Yeah.
So, the part of the story about digging, that's from your past?
Yes.
What did you find when you really dug?
All the stuff that the characters find, I had found those, but they weren't the same things. In the movie, it's props because the stuff I found, I put back in the ground.
So have you tried to figure out what happened in your real life with that?
Like in the movie, I called a group of friends and we went digging. Unlike the movie, my wife was with us digging. We spent about 10 days and realized that we found a bunch of garbage and we were just tearing up a yard looking for garbage. And we didn't want to make that movie, so we changed the ending.
Wow, very cool.
Very weird.
Yeah, a gun and a
Yeah, I mean, it
shoe?
could have been a cap gun. It could have been, well, we didn't find a shoe. That's why I forgot to
okay.
say that. That was fictional. Found license plate, found a bone, found a bunch of like garbage, found a plastic bag with a bone that had been chopped up. But like it all could have been food from another era. It could have been an animal's bone. We didn't know.
What made you put on this shoe?
I think the reason the character does that is he's starting to see himself more and more as the person he's digging. And he just wants to see if like, you know, it's when you find, if you see like a dead guy's coat and it might fit. You know, it's that eerie thing of how close am I to this guy who died on this
If the
hill?
shoe fits, wear it.
Well, I guess last question, a sports question, since there's all bull stuff in there, and
Yeah.
you're now Grantland rider, for God's sakes.
Yeah, that's right.
You're, I heard you go crazy about Rock Chalk Jayhawk
I'm a
out
huge
there.
Kansas fan, yes.
Other than Cubs, who's your favorite team? And Jayhawk, other than Manning, who's your favorite Jayhawk?
Paul Pierce. Absolutely. He was in my biology lab when I was a freshman, and I couldn't believe it. It was so exciting.
Was he good? I mean, did he get a good grade?
He would take the test in 5 minutes because he knew in like 4 months he was going to be a multimillionaire. Like, he left after his sophomore year, and he was top 10 in the draft. He didn't need biology lab.
He's got a big house, too.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Favorite non-Cubs? I mean, obviously Chicago.
Yeah, the Bears.
The Bears.
In fact, well, there's no other baseball team. It's the Cubs. It's the future franchise that is greater than all other franchises.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but he sang at the seventh inning stretch.
Yeah, on Sunday, yeah.
Maybe you give us a bar of that?
No. Oh. All righty, let me hear you. Hello. So I started singing the stretch, and immediately after starting, I realized my voice sounds so much worse than it had when I had practiced it. Because I'd practiced it, and I don't have a pretty voice, but I don't have a terrible voice. I just don't have a voice I ever need to sing in front of others. But when I practice it, you do the take me out to the ball game, and I'm like, good enough. That is a passing grade. This is a pass-fail. But then I grab the mic, and they go like, Chicago native and actor Jake Johnson. And I stand up, and I see Wrigley Field, which I've been to 200 times in my life. I see the Cubs, and so I yell, let's make some noise for this Cubs team. And I hear the cheers. And then I hear the organ start, so now I got to go. So I go, all right. And I'm like, this sounds terrible. But now I don't know how to get out of this. And now that the song started, I can't transition from take me out to this other one. So I was just in a death trap for about 40 seconds. Immediately after, my brother, who's in the booth with me, I go, it ended, everyone's looking around, I go, how was that? And he goes, your voice sounded like dog shit, man. He was like, one of the worst times I've ever heard. He's like, great job, great energy, great passion. Wow, your voice has never sounded uglier. And I was like, all right. I'm like, maybe you're my brother, you're just busting my balls. I walked by other media people and they would go, it's hard to do. So I was like, golly, man.
Wow. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.